Hi, I'm Jim, and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and I'm fixing all kinds of stuff today. But I've got a lot of comments and questions about, Jim, how can I get my drivetrain to you to rebuild? I've done about 5 of them this way, and it works out pretty sweet. All you have to do is send me the drivetrain. Now, it's very easy to get out of here. First, you want to take off this brake cable, or the new style brake cable comes around the front side and goes to this little shoe brake in here. This is a band brake. None of the new ones have them anymore. They only have the shoe brake. Now, to get the cable off for the shoe brake, this model I got sitting over here, this is the new style cable. It slides into a hole up on the top of the chain case. There's a piece of angle sticking out that this goes into. This is the bottom part. Now, if I can get you close enough to really see this, it has a snap ring on it. So you need a pair of snap ring pliers to get this off. See the 2 little holes here. Now you have to be careful because this is a piece of plastic. And as you can see by this one, it breaks very easily. You cannot buy this piece of black plastic. You have to buy the entire brake cable. So be careful when you're handling or working on that. So once you get the cable off, then you want to take off this link that hooks to the chain case that actually shifts it. And this is one right here. Now, when you go to unscrew this nut, you're not going to be able to on most of them, because you can see on this one, that nut, this whole thing turns. You need a 7/16 wrench to hold the nut on the back, and a 1/2-inch wrench to unscrew this. Then after you get them off, it gets easier. You want to go to the side. We'll take the tires off, obviously. I don't need them. The wheel flanges you can leave on, because this one, 9 times out of 10, is going to be rusted to the axle, and some of them I have to cut off. You take these 4 bolts out. There's 2 across the back, or if it's standing up, it's the bottom, and 2 more up the side on both sides of this thing. These 2 bolts and the 2 directly across on the other fender hold this brace in here. Now, you can take that off if you want to, but I would suggest leaving that on. It'll help support the fenders in shipping so nothing gets tweaked or bent. The brace across the bottom, I believe that hooks into, that hooks into the fender. So you can leave that on too to help support this end of the 2 fenders. Now, these fenders give this rear case a lot of strength. As you can see on this one, once you get the fenders off, there's not much left to this joint to give this thing any strength for standing up. I don't even think they weld that. They put a little bit of weld in the corner. They should weld that whole joint, but they don't. So once you get the 2 fenders off, lay this thing back down on its front tires, and it'll stand on the end of your bumpers and your front tires. I wouldn't leave it standing up unless you have it hooked to a rafter with a come along or a rope hoist or something. When you get these out, you're going to notice on this top corner on the right-hand side of the machine, there's a little brace right here. That brace is to help this rear bumper from breaking when you have your bagger on here, because there's holes through this bumper that bolts go up into the main case. So it really weakens that steel pipe, and they will snap right off without that brace on there. So once you got this thing all unbolted, grab onto this and your brace across the bottom and just slide this whole thing right out. If it wants to drag or not come out, you may have to loosen up the bolt on the bottom that goes through the bumper into the main case. So this bracket will become a little loose and it'll slide right out. Now, it usually takes me about a week to do this, depending on how busy I am. When I tear this thing apart, I gotta soak it in a tank for 2 or 3 days to get all that crap out of here that snapper puts in them. After everything is cleaned up, I'll inspect it and let you know what I think should be replaced. I'll send you pictures of all the gears, the chains, anything you want to see. If you feel that you could live with this gear is going to be usually the worst. That's what wears first. I'll put it back together and leave that gear in it. That's strictly up to you. When I have it all reassembled, I'll put it in this case. I'll put the 2 fenders on, an entire drivetrain. That way, bolted into that is going to be just like bolting into your machine. These rear cases are all the same size. They're the same width, they're the same length, and they're the same depth. On a 30-inch, 28-inch, 33-inch, and I believe a 25-inch. They're all the same. It's just the internal parts that are a little different. So when I assemble your drivetrain in that case, I can get rid of all your side plate. This has a little bit, not bad. I wouldn't even worry about that. You should get it down to at least a 32nd of an inch. I've had people call me and say, hey, Jim, I got a 1/4 of an inch of side plate. Well, you want to take care of that, because what's going to happen if you don't? This chain right here is going to eat a slot right through this cover, if it was still there, and it will lock up your machine. That big 33-inch that I drove up to Traverse City, Michigan to get, a viewer told me about, that's all that was wrong with that. And the dealer told him it wasn't worth fixing. So I could fix it now, but the next time it goes bad, I won't be able to get parts. Well, you can get all the parts you want. All I would have had to do is replace that cover, and it would have ran perfect. But I'm totally rebuilding that one. If you've watched keep up with my videos, that's the one I'm working on right now. But that's all you have to do to get this thing out of here, is just grab onto these 2 bars, pull this out, put it in a box, pack it somehow, and ship it to me. When I ship it back to you, the chain case and differential will be dry. UPS and whoever shipping company you want to go with gets a little upset if you have liquids in it, especially if for some reason they leak and it stains the box. Even if they're a mile from your house, they're going to send it back to me. Don't ask me why they do that, but I've had people tell me that they have shipped something and it was almost there and they returned it because it was leaking. I'll let you know what I recommend you put in here, and if you can't find it locally, I will pack a quart of it in the box with your drivetrain and send it to you. And a quart will fill these two probably almost twice. So that's what we're going to do on rebuilding this. I have a gentleman in Florida. I'm going to tell him when I put this video online to check it out and let me know if you want to ship it up here or not. So I guess that's about it. Until next time, work safe, have fun, and I'll talk to you soon. So long.